Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find the way.
Hey, I am Christoph Jenkins of the Poet Life Podcast. And again, tonight, I'm super elated to have an amazing guest on tonight. Her name is Chardell Moore, and we've worked together recently, roughly 4 to 5 months ago. And you know what? It's so amazing. She reached out via IG, and we're going to continue this conversation about this too. She DM'd us and said, hey, this is what I do. This is my passion.
Absolutely.
And I see that you all have some things going on. Do you need my services? I was like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Shoot your shot.
Absolutely.
She shot her shot and made it because she was one of the hosts of the Poet Life Fest in July of this year because of that DM.
There you go. There you go.
Chardell,
We're going to
how are
get
you?
into. I am doing great. And I'm so happy, King Chris, that you started off with that conversation and that narrative, because it's so important to really, whatever your gift is, especially poetry, because poetry is communication. It's the essence of life. It's the power of words. And you have to be so bold and own your creativity and be willing to put your services and your gifts out there. And that's exactly what I did. And we created a partnership. So thank you.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
real talk.
that statement or quote, if you build it, they'll come. What is it?
Absolutely. I don't know exactly, but I know what you mean. If you build it, they'll come, something around that notion. Yeah.
It is somewhat misleading though, because it's not the whole thing, because you can build it, but if they don't know anything about you or they don't know of you, they're not coming.
Yeah, because nobody knows what you can do unless you show them.
Yeah.
It's that simple, but at the same time, it's so complex for humans to understand, because that takes, what does it take? It takes courage. And courage is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger you'll become. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. It's not always easy, but it's worth it at the end.
It's time to create an unforgettable experience at your next event with the Poet Life by booking a keynote poet. Poets excite your audience with motivating messages, charismatic delivery, colorful rhythm, powerful prose, and heart-filled stories with a style of spoken word that's tailored specifically to your event. The Poet Life has keynote poets in your city of all ages and backgrounds.
Visit thepoetlife.com to learn more and book your poet today. Yeah.
Talk.
And it like, I didn't know of you until that DM.
Yeah.
Not to say that you're not important, right? But I just didn't know.
Absolutely.
Right? You built what you've built, but I didn't come because I didn't know of you. But you reached out and you were proactive and said, I have services. You may want to take a look at what I have.
Exactly. And
good.
that's the thing. You have to really honor your gift, and you have to be willing enough to take those steps, right? And honor the gifts that God has blessed you with, and say, you know what? I have something special. Let me release it to the world, and who is meant to be, we will cross paths.
That's good.
So when I pitch, right, I look at it as, let me do my best, because that's all I can do. And whoever decides to, book my services, that's what happens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't put yourself out there, King, you will never know.
That's so good.
It's so simple, but it's so true. I can't tell you how many opportunities been able to travel all over the country, internationally, just by communication, just by saying, let me show this company what I can do.
Wow.
That's walking in your inner power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's step back, right? Where did you start? How did you start? And what do you offer?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well,
Mhm.
I'm the CEO and founder of Motivational More. We're an
Mhm.
award-winning multimedia and communications company aimed to elevate the human consciousness. So I am a serial creative. I understand the power of words, the power of spirituality, creativity, and artistic expression. So Motivational More, we produce a variety of works from poetry to music, speeches, events, partnerships, and campaigns to really empower people to become their highest authentic self. And for me, it's very interesting because 2 years ago, I left my job as a TV anchor at the Fox affiliate in Baltimore. And I literally had this spiritual calling, could not explain it. I've been doing motivational speaking for years, doing poetry for years. And I said, you know what? It's really time for me to jump. And I was so fortunate for being there for 5 years, but I said, it's time. And there's times in our life that God is speaking to us. We cannot explain it. The signs are there, and you have to be willing to trust the process
Mhm.
and jump. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. And I
Mhm.
did it. And the thing about entrepreneurship, you're learning yourself every single day. I cannot even explain it, but bigger than the money or the accolades or the success that comes with it, it's the person that you become,
Mm.
learning the divine light that you carry,
That's good.
and going for your dreams unapologetically. It's not easy, but it's
Mm.
so worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been literally writing poetry all my life. Like, I wrote my first poem. It was something crazy, like at 2 years old. Like at 2 years old, I wrote a poem, and my parents could not believe it. Like, they called my aunt. They're like, she's writing poetry. And I've always had a passion for poetry. I ran for Miss Caribbean Metro USA, which is like Miss Caribbean for the United States. My talent was poetry. And it
Mhm.
was so interesting because, through the power of poetry, you really discover yourself, and it allows you to express yourself in a medium beyond the physical dimension, to be honest, because it can touch people's soul. And I remember this was in 2018, and here I am as a TV anchor on TV every single day, and I was so scared to release my poems. So I did a poem called Fear, and I was terrified because there's something different when you're creating art from your soul. It's
Right.
different when you're doing stuff for people. You know what I'm saying? I've worked with the most biggest media companies, Fox, BT, CW, all of these things, and I'm like, why can I? Why am I scared to release my poetry? And I literally said, you know what? I have to do this. Took my phone out. I made a poem about fear. It literally went viral. And God told me once again, this is a stepping stone to your next chapter. See, the thing
Mm.
about life, King, God shows us things in different chapters and different seasons. And when it's time for that next season, that seed was planted, but it takes time to nourish the seed.
Mm.
So it's been a journey, and I just released my debut album, Inward Awakening, which is a multi-genre poetic fusion. So it's poetry mixed with music. It's my own vibe. And that took time. It took 2 years to create this works, right? Because I'm going against my own mind. Like, can I do it? Can I do it? And that's the thing. And I encourage all poets out there that your art is powerful. Your
Mhm.
art comes from God. Everybody has a story. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and have compassion with yourself, because our words touch souls and we're literally messengers. So I'm
Mhm.
taking this album to the next level. I'm literally doing a music video for every single song, working on that,
Nice.
and just really taking my creativity to the next level and understanding their communities, their businesses. There's organizations who really value my services, and the sky's the limit. And I've been very fortunate to have a very diverse sector of clientele, from nonprofits to festivals to organizations to brand partnerships, to TV work. And I literally am a multidisciplinary creative, and just somebody who is on a mission to create powerful works and allow God to guide me. So that's
That's
the short
no,
version.
that's good. That is a
I went
great
into a
version.
trance. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
how you are well versed in your offering, your business,
Yeah.
and your purpose, and it's nothing for it to just flow out.
Mhm.
and that is so important because there's a lot of people that are great at what they do, but they can't articulate it,
Mm, yeah,
you know, and that can hinder you and prevent opportunities from coming your way because
true.
the next person is like, "Okay, so what do you do?"
And then,
And
yeah,
you're, yeah, hmm
yeah.
yeah. So I can appreciate the time that you've put in. That means you've invested
Oh,
time.
yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
Investing.
hmm
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you want anything to grow in life, you have to learn the importance of investing. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, people are not going to invest in you. And
mm,
investing is not just about money. Money is one aspect, but investing is also time, the research, the dedication, making the mistakes, falling, getting back up again. You have to really, really be bold in this world because if not, you're going to be floating. And the thing about it, we can invest in so many things that have nothing to do with us, okay? But to invest in ourselves, a lot of times we're scared. And that also comes from lack of self worth.
mm,
So, a lot of times with this journey, even through entrepreneurship, through even my poetic works, I'm realizing that the real work is not the external, King. The
mhm.
real work is the internal. Because
Yes.
once you develop a sense of self and you own who you are, you're naturally going to attract people because that is a very powerful energy.
Mm,
Some real
that's
talk.
that's good.
Yeah.
I said this on IG, and I've said this several times in several instances that you are more valuable as a poetry business
Oh, yeah.
than you are an individual poet,
Absolutely.
right? Because businesses would rather work with other businesses,
There you
B2B,
go. There you go.
right? Because they know that you've already invested the time, you've invested the money, and and when you get the opportunity, you're not going to drop the ball. Not to say that all individuals will, but more times than not, the business that offers the service have policies and procedures and systems in place to where it prevents, you know, things falling through the cracks and individuals who simply have a talent, um, that company or that organization or that church can't necessarily benefit to a level where that poetry business could provide for them. Like, one, do you have a website? So when I draw my audience to the audience to the artist or to the poet that I'm hiring, I can say that I'm actually working with an entity as opposed to just one person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
said something that is very profound. Systems. The world
mm,
is run by systems. Everything we see is just different systems. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So, understanding that as an artist, that you have to build a business around your creative properties. It's
Mm,
so essential. If not, you will be getting taken advantage of. That's just the reality of the situation. You
hmm
know, leaving corporate, creativity and having my own company and, negotiating my own deals and rates and all of that stuff, it's totally different. And it's like mind blowing. And that's the beauty about entrepreneurship and business. The sky is the limit. So if you
mm,
can sell your value, you're good. See, that's the
right.
thing. And that's the thing that I want to encourage, the listeners and the people watching this is that
Mhm.
understands that you have a gift, you have a message, and be willing to invest in yourself and create a business, create an LLC. This is really important and really own your gift.
Mm.
Not just like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How
Yeah.
long has Motivational More been
In
in
establishment.
existence? Yep.
So we started in 2019 when I left Fox. So it's gonna
Listen to
be,
what you just said. We started.
yeah.
You see, like now, I started writing poetry. Which one sounds more powerful?
There you go. Words, right? And we know
Yeah,
already with poetry the power of words.
right.
Words.
Yeah, and you can be literally the only person in
Oh
the
yeah.
business.
Oh yeah.
No, we started, or this is what we offer.
Yep. Yep.
That sounds like you're a straight up corporation.
There you go. Amazon, Facebook, all of these people started from one person and it grew. So realizing that and walking in that and
Mm,
owning that and moving that way, you have to. People are only going to take you as seriously as you take yourself.
mhm.
You learn that in this journey of life.
What was your thought when I responded when you reached out and pitched?
When I reached out and you responded, I said, perfect. And yeah, the
Mm,
first thing I did was always to thank God.
that's
That's
awesome.
what I do. I thank God. And I said, look at alignment, because I know what I can bring to the table.
Mm,
And I can say this, unapologetically, but anytime I have a client, they become a lifelong client
mhm.
because I make sure I give it my all. I don't have do anything. That's just the type of person that I am. So I said, "Oh wow, this is great because first and foremost, it aligns with motivational more
Mhm, mhm.
because not all people who reach out for our services and all that stuff that we work with because it doesn't align with the human consciousness, the empowerment. So I have a serious clientele that I like to keep in, that I like to work with. I said this is a perfect
Mm,
partnership, and
that's awesome.
just by offering my services, look what can happen. And
Mm,
that's the thing. You never know. You never know. But you have to be willing to put yourself out there and be open also to
right,
rejection. But
right.
not a lot of people are willing to do that.
Yes. I think that is the thing about shooting your shot. People are
Yeah.
scared to miss,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you miss 100% of the shots that you
There
don't
you
shoot.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Behind every single great person is so much failure. But technically, what is failure? Because what's not for you is never going to be for you, anyways. So you will only know unless you try.
Yeah. My response, or my end,
Mhm.
when you reached out, I think I was talking to my wife. I said, Shannon, someone DM me with a blue check. I
Thank
said,
God for that blue
what?
check.
They want to work? I was like, yeah. So that like lifted my spirits. I was like, I'm
Because I
doing
saw what
something
you
right.
guys were doing. I was like, this is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Poetry, it's a fest. This is great.
Mm,
You have
yeah.
a great following, great
Mhm.
engagement. I loved the website. I loved
Thank
the
you.
the professionalism. You had
Mm,
media behind you. Like,
yeah,
wow, this is an organization that is doing great work.
yeah.
So I'm like, let me pitch.
I know that's right. I know. How often do you do that?
All the time. All the time. Like I pitch press, I pitch services, partnerships. Right now, because I'm working on my album, I'm kind of like, in that creative zone. But I make sure every week that I'm sending my stuff out, And a lot of times some people respond, a lot of times they won't respond, but it doesn't matter, you
Right.
know? And I'm
Right.
telling you, that has been my entire career. Like literally every single opportunity I've just been able to pitch. And let me tell you about the law of cause and effect. Whatever you put out, you get back.
Mm-hmm.
So it does not matter. As long as you're putting out, you're going to get something. If you have quality work, you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
something.
Right. Yeah.
You just have to be willing to put yourself out there. Everything is already there for you. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I look at the world. I look at the world as the world is abundant, So let's make things happen. I have the portfolio, I have the resume, I do great work. Let's do it. And you have to be a go-getter. And I've always had that type of mindset anyways. Like if there's something that I want to do, I'm going to do it. I might not know exactly, but I'm going to learn and just keep going. And
There
that's all
you
you
go.
can do. That's all
Mhm.
you can do.
Mhm. You have to keep learning.
You have to keep learning. We're always a lifelong student.
You should be.
Yeah. Yeah. The
That's
moment
it.
that you get to, I call it hype. And let me
Mhm.
tell you something, King. Hype is an energy that can destroy greatness.
Mm.
You see, humility is important in this journey of life. Hype allows you to think that, you're somewhat above, when in reality, we're all the same, to be honest,
Mhm.
for real,
Mhm.
and hype can destroy work ethic. So you're thinking, oh, I'm good. I don't got to worry about that. I can jump at any time. I can just do this. No, no. And I've
Mm.
seen it in this business. I've seen people who are so talented, who are so gifted at what they do, and they start to lose themselves because of hype. When you remain humble and stay focused on the mission, you can't go wrong.
Right. Right.
This is deep, but it's true though.
It is very true. It is very true. You know, I regard humility on another level. But I've also learned that humility has a thin line
Mm,
between being resistant and going for it.
yeah.
But it's so important to stay grounded,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And not let ego take over, but at the same time, allowing some ego to build confidence.
Yeah. You know what you're talking about? You're talking about dualities.
Right.
Dualities is needed in everything.
Right.
Because if
You
you're
can't
too
throw it all
humble,
away. You can't throw it right.
yeah, if you're too humble, especially in this business, you're gonna, be walked all over. That's
You're
just
too humble. You're not going to do what you just did.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
I don't want to offend. I don't want to. Annoy. You better
Yeah.
annoy somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot
Yeah.
of my friends, they always talk to me about that. They're like, the fact that you can just like do it and do you feel, and I said, I've kind of like trained my mental that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you don't, especially if you want to pursue the arts or entrepreneurship, or to be honest, I haven't even met anything in this journey of
Anything.
life.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
don't have that, okay, let me show up for
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
because the only person who can do that for you is you.
Hmm.
Nobody else can do it. Nobody can create this life that you want to live.
Hmm.
So you got to be
Yeah.
willing to put in that work, and you got to be
Right.
bold, King.
Right. And it's so crazy. People who have less confidence will look at you and think you're arrogant. Like I've been called arrogant, um, you know, but they don't know how much work I had to put in to build the confidence.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Love
Like I
that.
didn't even want to be the host of this podcast.
Yeah.
Like wasn't going to do it. Literally got two poets to be the host, went forward with it. But when you have the vision and the purpose and people are not moving at the pace that you normally operate in, you're like, okay, all right, it's not working, all right, okay, I'm gonna have to do it. And God literally just out of the blue gave me the confidence to do it.
There you go. Because the
you know
confidence was already there. You just had to release it and
yeah.
unleash it. And that's one thing that I love about what you're doing.
Mm.
Showing up. You know how much things can happen just by showing up?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Showing up, King.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to push your own business, and not everybody's going to get it, like you said, there's going to be people who think, oh my gosh, they're arrogant, this, and that. But guess what? You can't focus on those negative energies. I call it
Right.
energy vampires. They're distractions,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
No one who's really truly trying to do things in this world are going to be even thinking those things, because they're going to see you and say, yes, that is so inspiring. It's only the people who are in the self-doubt and the negative thoughts that are
Ex-
consumed their mind that they're
ex-
even going to go there.
exactly. So it's in most cases, it's the perception of that insecure person
That
a
you have
lot of
no
times.
control of.
You have no control over
You have
that.
no, you're here and you know, as an entrepreneur, how much work it takes to build a company. Sacrifice, dedication, consistency, showing up, failures, keep coming through, keep going up again.
Mhm.
It takes
Yeah.
guts.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
meant for everyone, which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
always say the external world is gonna try. That's part of the process. But guess what? The internal world will try too. And that's
Mm-hmm.
even worse. Do
Right.
I have what it takes? Am I going in the right direction? Boom, boom, boom. Then you have to dig into yourself and tap
Right.
into that spirituality and say, no, God gave me this gift,
Mm-hmm.
because everything happens in the spiritual realm before the physical world, right? So God
Right.
shows you what you can become. Everything that I've ever got in my life, God showed me before it even happened. It
Yeah.
was since I was a little girl, like
Mm-hmm.
literally, you know.
Yeah.
So we have to be willing to trust the process
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
walk in courage and faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Poet Life University welcomes you to the world of creation, thoughts, expertise, and professionalism by offering technical knowledge, practical support, creative encouragement, and whatever it takes for you to create the poetry career that you've always desired, but never knew was possible. And the best part is we have professional poets from around the world as professors to teach you everything they've learned throughout their poetry careers. We are currently offering several 8-week live courses that will help you gain a deep understanding of poetry, become confident in your work as a poet and writer, learn how to start your own business with the help of an expert, enjoy the freedom that comes from being able to pursue what you love on your terms. Are you ready to take your poetry to the next level? Learn with others by doing for the future from the comfort of your home. Get in touch with us at www.poetlifeuniversity.com and enroll today.
The greatest people you ever seen, most people a lot of times did not even get what they were doing. They're like, what is this? And years later,
The
you're like,
story of
whoa,
my life.
me
I
too.
I literally get puzzle pieces of the vision.
Yeah,
I'm like, I know I have something, but I can't see the picture of it. You know, you get a
yeah,
puzzle and there's a
yeah.
picture of what it's supposed to be on the front of the box.
Mhm.
I'll just have the pieces in my hand, like, okay, God, what is, I know it's something here.
Yeah,
There's something amazing right here.
yeah.
But he's just like, just put one piece down at a time.
There you go. There
And
you
it
go.
can get frustrating at times
Ooh, what?
because it's like,
That's an
because
underestimate.
you can't even share your thoughts with other people because you don't even know you're like
Let me tell you, you know how many times I can't even explain to people the vision in my brain because it's just so, whoa.
it's so grand.
It's so grand, and then it starts to consume you. Like literally, you're like thinking and you're thinking, and it's just like you'll get thoughts, and it's one of those things that there's literally, King,
Mm,
no words. There's no words to describe this.
mm,
But you know what? It is passion. I call it
mhm,
the soul mission. There's things that we cannot even explain. Why are we doing this? What is this? It's the soul mission.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And not everybody's going to get it. And you have to be okay. And one thing that I encourage entrepreneurs, creatives, surround yourself with positive people, surround yourself with like minded people, because negative energy is so contagious.
Right.
So you can be telling your idea to someone and they're looking at you like, oh, you can't do that. I don't know about that. Really, is that a good idea? You can tell your same idea to a different person. And they're like, this is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just
Yes.
depending on what they say, if you're not anchored, you can stop your whole divine calling because of a thought of someone else.
But that's why it's so important to have discernment.
Yes.
And to know who to bring ideas and visions to.
Amen.
Right? Even family.
Oh, yeah.
There's some people in your family that you need not to share ideas and visions with, because one, you already know they're negative. So why even torture yourself?
Exactly.
And their response is going to be negative.
Exactly.
And
you said the right words, torture yourself.
Yeah.
Why even put yourself through that agony?
Right. Because you're already trying to figure it out, and to get a response like, that's not going to work, or, just go get a job, or, just nothing uplifting. You can figure it out, or just write it down. Nothing uplifting. Just hit with negative responses.
Yep.
Don't go to that person no more. I don't care if it's your mom, your brother. Like,
you have to protect your calling, because not
Yeah.
everybody has that vision. That vision was, and that's something I had to realize. That vision is not their vision.
Right.
This is your vision that God gave you. So honor that. You
Yeah.
can't worry about, you can't convince somebody else to see something that you see. It's deep.
I heard a dope quote, and I'm paraphrasing, but it said, when I say they don't know, they don't know your calling, because when God called, it wasn't a conference call.
Amen.
Amen. Because they weren't on the call. The call was for you.
Yep.
I heard that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's some good soul message.
Yeah, that's
fuel.
heavy right there.
That's powerful. Yeah.
For sure.
And a lot of times we can stop. We can stop because of other people.
Right. How difficult or smooth was the transition from the job 2 years ago?
Whew. Let me tell you, to be honest, it was actually a smooth transition.
Okay.
Yes, I was very fortunate. I had so many things lined up. When COVID hit, wow.
Okay.
That's when it was like, oh my gosh.
It got
we have
real.
to restructure.
Pivot.
It got real. It got real. But once again, God was favorable. And that's the thing. I'm telling you, when you just commit to your calling, things work out. I cannot explain it. Things always worked out. So I never really lacked. You know what I mean? It was challenging times, don't get me wrong, financial times, but it was never this thing that I'm like, oh my God, I have to quit my, business and this and that. So one of the things that I encourage people, because everybody's, different in their journey, is really just have faith in the process and trust the process and understand, because dualities lives in everything. It's in everyone. It's in all processes, that there's going to be storms. It's part of it. And there's going to be sunshine. So when you're facing those storms, you can't allow the storms to block your blessings and for you to stop. You got to keep going.
Got it.
But entrepreneurship is one of those things. It's not an easy journey. 1 month you're like, whoa, this is great. I can't, it will take months for me to make this if I was a TV reporter. And then you might
Right.
have 1 month that you're like, oh man.
Right.
But it's the process. It's the
Mhm.
journey,
Right.
So you have to really be committed to that. But
Mhm.
the potential, and I've always been a visionary, the potential, whoo, can't be compared.
Limitless.
It's
Yeah.
limitless, like literally limitless. And to live life on your accord, there's no words for that,
Mhm.
you know?
What makes you stand out with your poetry, the service that you provide?
You know what? I think when it comes to my poetic works, I think it's my spirit and my energy. I think I can say this unapologetically. I have a gift
Mhm.
of really just, it's like my spirit. And when I, you know, perform my works, it's
Mhm.
like something takes over. It's like spiritual, you know? And I don't try to be anything except for myself. I've
Mhm.
never, even when I was an anchor, I would dress the way I would dress. I would speak the way I would speak. I'm just very authentic, and people can feel that.
Mhm.
So I definitely think I have a gift to really speak to people's souls and allow people to feel connected to the message
Mhm.
because it's bigger than me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like this light that I'm walking in because I really feel like I've been called to do this. This is bigger than even the business. This is a spiritual calling. So when I perform, people are like, oh my God, that poem touched me.
Mhm.
You really inspired me. I can't explain it. And I think also too the background, the versatility that I can bring on a stage. Because you're gonna get the speaking, the keynote, you're gonna get the poetry, you're gonna get the rapping, you're gonna get the dancing. So it's like I bring a whole vibe.
Mm.
Like literally. And I'm like, this is nothing. This is like I'm just getting my feet wet. Wait till you start seeing like these films that I'm about to be producing. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Because my music videos, I'm gonna make them like films, like literally like short films. And I think it's also what makes me different is really my energy and spirit. Because
Mhm.
this is what people tell me. So it's like they're like something about your energy, something about your spirit. So if people are saying the same thing, there has to be it's something like that. But also the background, but it's a combination.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
remember the packet that you sent,
Hmm.
right? And you explained that I not only
Yeah.
host and
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
perform, but you will get this, you will get
Yep.
that, you will
Hmm.
get. I'm
Hmm.
like,
And clients
he's a
love
whole
that.
media company.
Absolutely. And that's one thing, clients, when it talks about the business, we talked about, like the spiritual side of it and the gifts.
Right.
But for a business, they love that because when you book Motivational More, you're getting a multimedia campaign. You're getting
Hmm.
a host, okay? You're getting a performer. You're
Hmm.
getting advertising. You're getting press. You're
Hmm.
getting recognition, brand credibility, all of this experience. So it's like, whoa, this girl is a one-stop shop.
Hmm.
And it's like, that's the thing. You have to know what you bring to the marketplace
Hmm.
and be willing to sell that. And you're also getting authentic, clean, awesome fun. There's not a lot, I mean, there is, but some entertainers, it's like hard for them to balance that. You know what
Right.
I mean? But I'm still gonna be me. We're still gonna have fun. We're still gonna make it powerful, educational, sexy, all of it in one. I don't believe in like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a holistic type of vibe.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That sold me quickly. And, it also validates how much you charge
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's a no-brainer then.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're saying a service and you're like this and you're like, oh, I don't know, but when you're saying like, hey, I'm doing all of these things for
Mhm.
you, you're gonna get
You're not gonna
advertised.
find this anywhere. You're not
You're
gonna
not
find
gonna
this
find,
anywhere.
yeah, you're not gonna find this anywhere. So they're like, okay,
Mhm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's one of those things that know what you do, be willing to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Did you study that? Like when I saw that, I was like, that's genius. That
You know
is
what it
because the other things to you, that's just what you do. That it's not, and to the company or to the client, it's like, man, that's what we need. Now I don't have to, you know, get a host and get a performer and get a
Yeah,
media person. I can
there you
I can
go.
pay one
There you
bill.
go. Yep, yep. And I realized that because even when I was working in TV, I was doing my stuff on the side, right? And a lot of the things that I was noticing, it was like, okay, people would need an MC, but the MC would show up late, or the MC couldn't do this or that, and we're like, I need to perform. And I just started really owning that because I am a serial creative. The world has only probably seen probably like 2% of what I can do. And I'm in that space that I'm really just gonna be showing it, like just different aspects. So owning that and realizing like, hey, I can do this for you. And for a business, it is a no-brainer. Like, okay, Shar can host it. She can perform one of her poems. She can make it family friendly. She can make it professional, not boring, but still have a lot of energy, not go too overboard. And
Mhm.
has the credibility and do the media interviews. It's like, whoa, this is perfect. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because sometimes you'll have an artist, and the artist is great on stage, but let's say to book a media interview, the artist is just like shuts down. But I have years as a TV journalist, so that's easy for me. You know what I mean? Or
Mm.
like an artist is great on stage, but let's say working with the kids, it's just not really their thing. But I love
Right.
children, so it's just like realizing what you do and owning it and selling it.
Mm. Yeah, and you gave all of what you offered and
Yeah.
more and more. You're
Yeah.
dancing with the kids,
Hmm.
you know. And that's why you're coming back
Thank
for the
you.
winter edition of the Poet Life Fest on January 29th.
Thank
And
you. Cannot wait. It's gonna be
yes,
amazing,
yes,
guys.
you
Yes.
and you and Poet will be
Yes.
back
Oh, it's awesome. Yes.
working together, and
Yeah.
super excited about that. So when it comes to your keynotes,
Oh yeah.
right?
Hmm.
How difficult, easy is it to book keynotes?
Well, keynotes is a little bit different, but
Yeah,
keynotes is where the bread is.
there it is.
And I'm very fortunate. Like when you land one of those nice keynotes, you could be sitting for a while. You're like,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
let me just. And that's another reason why, I love being able to do multiple services, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Hmm.
Because the thing about, and it's sad that we live in that type of world, but the reason why I even intertwine my poetry with my keynotes, because it makes it different.
Hmm.
And people love that.
Hmm.
But it's easier to sell a keynote saying, hey, I want this amount of money versus I'm just going to perform poetry. Why is
Right.
that? Because the world is still getting,
Yes.
you know, used to
Yes.
poetry. And like the thing about life, everything we see was once a thought. There was a time period people thought hip hop would never be
Exactly.
anything. And look at it now. Hip hop like runs the world when it comes to
Exactly.
music, So you have to realize, like, okay, this is cool, but I still want to put my poetry in here.
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But
Hmm.
and that's what makes you different. So it's so interesting because if you're trying to say, okay, I want, let's say, 10K for this poetry
Hmm.
performance, they might be like, huh. But to do a 10K keynote, that's not hard if you have like the right corporation or the right, person booking you. They'll see the value of that. But if
Hmm.
you bring your keynote and your poetry, they're like, whoa. So it's
Hmm.
also mindset,
Hmm.
So especially what you're doing, you're creating a whole new narrative that
Hmm.
people actually need, and people are going to remember that. When you
Yeah.
do a good speech and you can intertwine it with poetry,
Mm.
people, they love it. They absolutely
Yeah.
love it.
Yep. Yeah.
Because we said this on off camera, there's no difference between a poet and a singer.
Right.
a poet, and a keynote speaker. It's
Mm-hmm.
still, what are you doing? You're using your words, you're using
Mm-hmm.
your voice, you're projecting, boom, boom, boom. So as poets, and especially as you, who is trailblazing this
Mm-hmm.
industry with your
Mm-hmm.
company,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to be on the front lines, the
Mm-hmm.
pioneer, the thought leaders who are understanding this. Because
Yeah.
you go in different parts of the world, and poetry is in a whole different realm.
Hmm.
You know, there's places, especially like in the Middle East, Dubai, these have, they really value poets, and you know, because they look at poets as philosophers, because poets are philosophers.
Right.
So really, you know, what you're doing with your company is really just mind-blowing. But I will say keynotes, you know, speeches, it's easier to book that when you're talking about the bread
Yes.
versus, you know,
Yes.
okay, I want to perform.
Right. So that's the
Yeah,
thing. So it's like, okay, it is what it is. The poetry industry is in its infancy.
it
We
is.
as right, we as poets see it bigger
Hmm.
than it really is on the outside looking in, right? So we can't get mad about it. It
Yeah.
is what it is until it isn't.
That's how it is, and that's how with is with everything.
Exactly. So go look within yourself and find out what other thing or things that you do where you can incorporate your like you're doing.
Yep, that's what I do. Like
Pull them
even when
with
I'm
the
doing
thing
an
that's already established and infuse
when
your
people
poetry.
exactly, when people hire me to MC, you're gonna get some of my poetry. When you they
Mm,
hire me to for a keynote, they're gonna get my poetry. When they hire me to do a creative lecture, they're gonna get my poetry. Because there's some poetry is so powerful.
mm,
It's just the world is not hip yet. That's
mm-hmm.
just what it is. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like they're gonna remember your poetry even more than even the stuff that you're talking about in your
Mm-hmm.
speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
poetry is art. Speaking is an art too, but it's a different type of art. So
Right.
that's why even when I brand myself as a poet, I brand myself a certain way,
Right.
you know, that people can see this is something serious. This is you know, this is a work, like this is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Because we have to create the value.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's like you know, I love slam poetry,
Hmm.
but the world doesn't necessarily love slam poetry.
Mm,
Poets love slam poetry. I can say that confidently because if you go to a slam, like a real slam, you know, where it's a
hmm.
competition and who's in the audience? Poets,
That's true.
right? Um, battle rap has broken that
Hmm.
barrier
Hmm.
because before it was rappers who just love battle rap. Now the world loves battle rap.
Exactly.
It's amazing
That's how
what
it
they can
is.
do, you know, with their words and their
Yeah.
presentation. And so, but it took years of not caring what the outside world said and
There you
thought,
go. And just kept going.
kept going. And so, but watch what they did. They got professional.
You have to. You
They
have to.
created
That's
professionalism within that
exactly.
underground.
Exactly. That's why I was like, even when it was time for like, I was like, I can't just make poems. Like, I need to make an album. I need to make a body of work that I can use this to get press, to get booked for
Mm,
services, brand deals, all of these things. I'm like, you can't just say, like, you have to like really make this thing a thing.
mhm. Yep.
And it's like you're cooking, you know, you need your ingredients. It's nothing, you know what I'm realizing, King? I'm realizing like nothing is different. It's the same thing. Things are the same, it's just in different things. So
Mhm.
it's just like saying like you have a gift to cook. right? Until you start taking your cooking seriously and, creating, a business or this, then people are going to take you seriously. So that's why I was like, okay, I can't just have like my poems. I need to like make an album. Then after this album, I'm like, okay, it's time to do the films, let's get press. Let's get this, let's get awards. Like, let's make this a thing. You have to.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. It is going from mom and pop.
Yeah.
To becoming official.
Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. Like, just the same way that for advertising, like I'm really stepping into that space next, like in hitting these major brands and saying like, hey, I can do this. Cause I did commercials for a lot of these brands already. You know what I mean? In my background. And I'm like, why don't I infuse this with poetry? How cool would that be? Like, whatever, if I'm wearing something or it's a drink or this and that, why can I do and then that's so dope. Eventually that's going to be the norm. That's the crazy thing. It's going to be the norm eventually. It just takes time. So the people who are seeing this vision, we got to get on it. We got to get on it because guess what? Somebody else sees it and they're working behind the scenes. Because nothing is really new. The same idea you have, somebody else has it. It's just who is willing to execute. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But that's what's gonna happen. The Nike commercial is gonna be a poet. It's gonna happen.
I just had a conversation with a gentleman. He's a poet. His name is Blues, and he's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Was it Charlotte, South Carolina? Charlotte, North Carolina. It's
Charlotte,
one of the North Carolina. North Carolina. I've been following him for the longest, and he recently posted an opportunity where he worked with the Charlotte Hornets.
See?
NBA just started, and they booked him to be on the Jumbotron to create a welcome back poetry
project.
Go. It's on the Jumbotron. He's in the middle of the court.
Yep. I'm telling you, the opportunities are there. You got to go for them. And this, I'm telling you, give it a couple of years. This is going to be the norm, because even how the world is changing, people are becoming more conscious. So just how the marketing world is, they're going to be like, okay, we need more, poets and stuff like that to reach more of like this type of audience that the world is starting to wake up.
Right. Yes.
So you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. That is that's really good, and that's really encouraging, because at times, and I'm sure you feel the same.
Oh yeah.
At times it's like, okay, I know I'm doing great, but right now I don't feel too great.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And that's you being your own worst critic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's you not working on an opportunity currently feeling, you know what I'm saying? So I think everyone experiences that, no matter how big, I can't remember what celebrity said it, but it's like after a successful album, they almost go into a depression because they're like, man, I gotta top that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
It's so true. And what I've been able to do, which really helps, is develop internal motivation. Because if you develop internal motivation and you're just trying to be like your best self, it's less pressure from the outside world. And it really makes your journey a lot easier, because the only thing you have to prove to is yourself, So it's like, it doesn't matter about how much this or how much that, or boom. It's like, hey, am I growing? Am I learning? Am I pushing myself? Internal motivation is so important, because if you don't, because the thing is, naturally, when you put in work, you're just going to keep growing. That's just naturally how it is. You know what I'm saying? Just period. It might take time, but that's just how life is. So there's going to come a point that you keep reaching success and you're like, okay, if it's not something that like internally, you're going to be like, okay, you
Right.
can still feel empty. But if you're
Yeah.
like, have this mission with yourself and you're like, okay, let me just keep growing and challenging
Right.
myself.
You said something offline. You said
Mhm.
just keep showing up.
Keep showing up. That's one of the magic ingredients for success. Keep showing up, being consistent.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
showing.
take for not tonight. Tired.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
You
Me
know.
too. I had a long day, but
Yeah.
guess what? I knew we had our interview. Gotta show up.
Mm.
Gotta show up. You know. And we
Yeah.
were probably, and this is the thing, this is just how energy is. Usually, a lot of times, what one person's feeling, the other person's feeling too.
Right.
And we could have easily just been like, you know, let's reschedule. But just be the person that the people that
Yep.
we are becoming, we're like, okay, we got to do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Tired,
Go
okay?
get some coffee. Go get some water. Open your eyes.
Oh, and let's do
and
it.
let's go. And
There
let's
you
go.
go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we're on the
Yeah.
same page. We're on the same
Yes,
page.
we are.
You know, I'm telling you, because
Super
literally,
tired.
it's so funny. It's so funny. I literally, like, if it was like 8:30, and so folks don't know what time it is. So it's 9. We started at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's like 10:09 now. We've been going for almost an hour, and it was like 8:30. And I was taking my clothes off. I was like about to get in the bed. My wife was like, what are you doing? I was like, what? You know, you have, I was like, oh,
Oh yeah. No, that's how it is. That's how it is. And let me tell you, I've been working since like super early, and
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I got it. I was just like, should we reschedule?
Right.
And I said, you know what? Let me just do it.
Let's get
Let
to
me
it.
just do it.
Let's
Just get to it.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because we were both on that vibe because we were exhausted.
Yeah.
But there was a reason why we still showed up, and just having that mindset. Whew,
Yeah, I'm feeding off your energy and vice versa. I love
exactly.
it. I love it. I enjoy speaking with you. You know,
Thank you.
because it's like I'm speaking to myself. You know, through a camera. You know what I mean, and I can appreciate that because you don't find that often.
Oh yeah.
And that's the hard part. It's just like, it's like, okay, what are we talking about when you're talking to other people? Like, are we talking about progression? Because I'm not.
It's hard
really
to find
interested.
people on your similar wavelength.
On your wavelength, and you try not to not talk, to folks that want to talk about stuff that are on a lower frequency. But sometimes it's hard, like I don't like talking on the phone with people unless we're talking about something forward marching. I'll reminisce for a little while, but all right, cool. So what are you doing now? Or what are you looking forward to doing? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's
Exactly.
talk about something that way, and not so much that way all the time.
I feel you, King. Yes.
Yeah.
But this was such a wonderful conversation, and it was so. I mean, it's just also to alignment, So when I have conversations with people like you, it's like we're out there. Because sometimes in this journey you can feel alone. You know what I mean? And yeah. So when you realize there's people out there who understand it, who have the passion for the arts, who have the passion for business, the passion for for God, and just like realizing like we can do all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
It is. It is. And I do appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Your skill set, your knowledge.
Thank
you. It just continues to open my mind to the things that I can and need to do. And one of the things that I need to do is do more pitching. And
let me tell you something, especially with your company and what you're doing. You can do a lot. So not even just like not even just the services with the different talents, but also like sponsors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people who just want to sponsor, your company with what you're doing. Like, hey,
Right.
like I can get you a talent to do, and that's the big contracts. Like I can get you a talent to do this campaign, this ad, this boom,
Right.
because Poet Life it's like a multi like genre agency, to
Yep.
be honest.
Yep.
You have different sectors. You have the talent portion, you have the festival, you have the podcast, you can get into content creation, brand development. There's so many things.
We at The Poet Life are excited to invite you to be a part of something that we've all been longing for. For far too long, each and every one of us have been searching for a way to get connected with like-minded people, specifically poets who have the desire to make poetry their career. We've all heard more than once from more than one person that there is no money in poetry. This couldn't be further from the truth. Your poetry is invaluable. Allow us to show you how successful you can be with your poetry. Learn how you can go from being an individual poet to launching a business that offers poetry as a service. Join us as we build the poetry industry together. The Poetry Business Network that is made of poets from all over the world who are looking to start their career in the poetry industry or simply do more with their poetry. We will meet twice a week on a Zoom call every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will have the opportunity to meet and network with poets from all walks of life. You will also have the privilege of meeting and learning from the best professional poets in the world. Many of them have been guests on the Poet Life podcast. We have also incorporated a book club where we read personal development books to help us change our mindset. In order for us to realize our greatness as professional poets, we must renew our minds. So, for just $1, you can check out the Poetry Business Network to see if you like it. We are confident that you will. If you choose to become a member after the first week, membership will be $79 a month. But if for whatever reason you don't, you can cancel at any time. There is no obligation. So, make the investment of just $1 and change the way you see and pursue poetry. We hope you become a part of the Poetry Business Network. Together, we can build the poetry industry.
There's so many ways that you're going to be growing this amazing company.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. I am, and you have to know yourself, right? I know that I am big vision, but I have to work towards strengthening the execution of the day to day, and that's why a lot of companies that succeed have co-founders. One is big vision, one is knowing how to get the day to day done to get the big vision to fruition. And so I think for me, that's why I kind of it's gradual. It's gradual growth because I have to learn the day to day execution piece.
And that takes time. That takes time, and it's a journey.
It is.
It's really a journey, and when you're looking at it as long term, it's so much better because there's really no shortcuts to success. So also have compassion with yourself through this process.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. How's the inner workings of your business? How's that going? Is it going well?
Oh my gosh, Chris, when I mean every day I'm learning. Every day I'm learning. Every day I'm learning to show up for myself and understanding the importance of goal setting. Because that's when I'm consistent, I can see when my business flourishes. Right. Right. And I've been very fortunate because the type of business that I have, I'm just like doing deals, So if you get a really good deal, you can like, oh, okay, I can chill. Let me just focus on the arts. Right. So it's like, and that's the thing about, and then also too, once you start being in that world, it's totally different. But there's also levels. There's levels to everything. So what is this when you can get you for one advertiser, like, and that's where I want to go towards next, those big brand deals that you can get these 6-figure contracts for just doing like a campaign
Right.
out there, So I'm training my mind like, okay, let's get these pitches, let's do these major pitches. Because don't get me wrong, it's good to make, this, that, and it definitely adds up. You're definitely making more than most people,
Right.
But there's way more levels to that.
Levels.
That's levels, but also too, it also requires you for that professionalism. So that's why for me, I want to do not only, the album's one thing, but really showing the film. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So this is a whole thing, doing the merch. All of these things are so important.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Yep. Everybody listening, I hope you got some information, some knowledge, and you make that knowledge powerful by applying it. There's another quote that knowledge is power, and that is wrong. Applied knowledge is power.
Yeah. I heard a quote that said, knowledge without execution is poverty.
Just well-informed poverty.
Just because most of the time, to be honest, we always know, not everything, but a lot of times we know what to do. We just don't do it. Or we're not consistent.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, anybody out there who's a poet, who has a business, just start pitching. You will be surprised what you can close just from an email and showing people what you can do. That's just one thing. So start pitching and owning that, and pitch in multiple spaces, not just to perform, but advertising, brand deals, keynotes, MC, and like also intertwine your poetry in that, because we are still living in a world that a lot of times people don't get it, but you're the one who can show them what you're capable of doing. Take your creativity to the next level. Create an album, create a body of work, create a book, create a podcast. Don't worry about, if I'm not getting the numbers I want. It's not about that. Start showing up, because when you're showing up and you just keep getting better, all of those things eventually come. Build systems around your creativity. I'm going to say it again. Build systems around your creativity, and then take your systems to people who will see your value.
There it is.
There you go.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's awesome. Look, everybody, listen, we can continue talking for the next 4 hours. It's nothing for us to continue, because this is uplifting for both of us. Like we said, it's this can be very lonely, and you can feel like an alien, right?
Literally.
Literally, because it's like, okay, I don't have anybody that I can talk to, because folks just not talking this. They're just not. It's the Squid Games and whatever else is trending right now, and my TV's off unless I am unless I need brainless activity and I need to shut down. My TV's off, or shut down, or spend time with my wife where we're just phone off, laptop closed. That's when the TV's on and we're just relaxing. After putting the kids to bed, and after screaming and crying and stuff.
Telling you.
Yeah. So Chardell, where can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm on all social media platforms at Chardell Moore.
Nice.
Motivational Moore. We're also on Instagram. Check out chardellmoore.com as well as chardellmoore.net. Inward Awakening is available on all streaming services. The Inward Awakening collectible CD, hand signed by yours truly, which is going to be available exclusively on my website.
Mhm.
That's going to be coming out soon, because that's another thing that I encourage people to do. Create your own systems from the systems, because it's hard to make money from the streaming, right? So what I'm going
Mhm.
to do is I'm going to have a collectible CD. I'm going to sell my CD for $100. I already have people who have bought it already. And this is my collectible CD for my own art. See the difference? You can wait and wait for little streams, or you can create the same system that you already have, make a CD, hand signs. I value my art, and there's people out there who value it as well. Sell it for $100. There's going to be people who understand the importance of creativity and know the importance of this album, because this album is a masterpiece. You see what I'm going, King? There you go. You got to own your creativity. You got to think outside the box. Don't follow the rules.
Oh my
So the
God,
Inward
yo.
Awakening collectible CD, hand signed by yours truly, available exclusively on charlottemore.com by our record label, Motivational More Music, will be out soon.
How do you turn that down? And I know all you need is to get in the room, and you're gonna close them.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
That's all you need. Or all you need is to get in their DM. And I love it. I love it. And that's why, and let's go in a minute. I told you I can keep on going, but that's why it is so important to connect with like minds. And with those like minds, they are better than you in other things. So that keeps you growing. And it's so hard to find people like you, to connect with, because the average situation is everybody's pulling from you. Like, where do you go?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate our connection,
Thank
and
you.
we'll continue to build. And so everybody, reach out to Chardell Moore. I don't have to say too much because you already see it. You already know what she's coming with, and you would be a fool not to reach out to her. So that's all I'm going to say about that,
Thank
because I've already connected with her, and she's taking my brain to the next level. So listen, it's the Poet Life Podcast. If you need more information about all of what we do, go to thepoetlife.com or poetlife.com. We have both of them. So it is a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. This episode will be out very soon, probably next week. To those watching, it's out now. But listen, the Poet Life Podcast, subscribe, go to poetlifegear.com and get some gear. Who knows you're a poet? If a stranger walked past you, how would they know that you're a
Yes.
poet?
Yes.
You got to ask yourself that. If
Yes.
someone knows that you're a poet, that means there's more opportunities that could come your way.
There you
There's
go.
so many times that I'm out and about at a restaurant and say, "You're a poet," and I forget that I have this on.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
"How did you know?" And I'm like,
Documentation
"Oh,
equals conversation.
ooh,
That's one of my favorites. Documentation equals conversation.
listen, document the process."
Yes.
Document the process, and that's what podcasting does.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, there's no reason why you should not have a podcast.
I agree.
It is an automatic platform for you, and you are already step into the realm of a thought leader.
There you go. Only
Listen,
you can define yourself. So if you're bold enough to use your voice or create systems or use this mind,
mhm.
you think about it. Like I said this so many times, but it's so true. Every single thing we see was once a thought by someone. Everything.
Yeah,
So
everything.
create what you want to see in this world and do
That
the
is
work.
That is the perfect way to end this episode. Create what you want to see in your life. Create your life.
Create your life. Create your life.
But put in the work.
Put in the work. There
It's the Poet Life Podcast. I am Christoph Jenkins, and she is Chardell Moore. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way.